Yes, yes, yes. Alright, buenas, buenas chichateros y chichateras. Feliz lunes. Mi nombre es Nana Clara y esta tarde pues estaré entrevistando. Esta tarde va a ser en inglés, así que lo siento mucho para los que no hablan inglés, pero la entrevista va a ser en inglés. Y si hay un cuadradito ahí abajo con una interrogación y ahí pues nos lo podéis mandar y de ahí pues intentaremos responder todas. So hello everyone, hope you're well. My name is Nana Clara and I'm gonna be interviewing today. So today's my first day, so woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Hope you're having a lovely Monday, start of the week, even though that we are at home. But yeah. Also, just wanted to explain to you a little bit about Chitt Chatt. Chitt Chatt is a platform that we have created to kind of bring everyone that has a voice that would like to talk about themselves, as in like what they do, and take it out into the world so that everybody knows what they're doing. So like we are open to speak to artists, musicians, actors, actresses, fashion designers, everyone is welcome. So make sure, send us a message. We are here, we are open, and we would love to hear from you. All right. So today we have an amazing woman. Her name is Angelica Rincón. She is a singer, Colombian singer, and she has a lot to say, and I cannot wait to have her on the show. So I think that she is here, so I'm just gonna bring her in. Let's see. So yes. Also, well, hello.
Hello. Hi,
How-
Nana. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Great. Finally.
I know.
And it's
Thank
lovely to be interviewed by you.
Oh, I know. Let's see how it goes.
It'll be great.
It would fine. But thank you so much for accepting the interview and saying yes. And we wanted to have you on the show.
Oh,
So yeah.
thank you. It's my pleasure. Very excited to be here with you guys.
Amazing. So before we start, I'm gonna tell everybody that's joining in, there is a small box at the bottom. It should be on your right hand side. And if you have any questions throughout the whole interview, if you just write them there, and it will be easy for me to kind of, instead of scrolling up and down. So
yeah, please, questions, guys.
yes. First of all, I actually want to ask you.
Yes.
So how do you like to be called? Angelica or Angie?
Well, usually in the music world, people call me Angie.
Yeah.
I used to hate it as a kid.
Okay.
But I just learned to love it because everyone was just. I couldn't stop it. So you can call me both. Whatever you want, Nana. Be free.
Okay. Turn the volume up a little bit. Okay. So let's start. So tell us, who is Angelica Rincón?
Right. Angelica Rincón. So I was born in London. My family is Colombian, as many people know. I come from a musical background. My father's a musician for the last 35 years here in London. And I've always been in the arts since I was a kid, since I was a young child, dancing and performing. And at the age of around 18, my father had various bands in London, various Latin bands, from mariachi to salsa. Small groups, big groups, and by things that happen in life, by accident, maybe nothing is an accident, but I ended up studying to become a vocalist, and then I trained in a bit of vocal technique. And when I was 18, I started studying psychology at university, and I did it at UCL. So I'm a trained psychologist, and I've also trained in music psychology. So that's kind of my academic part. And my performance part recently is I'm one of the directors with Lily Elena Guerrera, which is a 10-piece all-women's band here in the UK. And I've been singing, I've been gigging really. I've been kind of learning on the job, if you like, over the last, since I was 18. Working in so many different types of bands, from mariachi to tropical to salsa to bolero. It's just been happening in that way. And I think with Guerrera, I can say this is kind of like my project now, where a dream come true. So that's kind of, I hope that clears people's...
That's what, no, that's what I think. I mean, how, when you, I mean, obviously your parents were happy that you decided to go that path of musicianship.
Yeah.
And I think I read a little bit from your biography that your dad was in different, I think he had his own band, and that he was having rehearsals at home. So you were kind of like feeling it.
I mean, yeah, it was like my normal, I guess. One thing I found that many people who are raised in a musical household where it's normal to have rehearsals since you're conscious, and for houses to be full of musicians since you're conscious, it's a bit different. You kind of sometimes want to step away from it, and you don't want it. You want to do something completely different.
Yeah.
You know, my father knew I was musical or artistic, but he never wanted to force me into that world.
Okay.
Because he was like, when she, you know, the classic pushy parent, he was never into that. Right. And I wanted to do dance. So I did a lot of dancing when I was like a young girl, like going to contemporary and jazz and all of that. But I was raised in a household where many of the musicians that we all know and love were of my dad's generation, who came in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and some in the 90s, know me since I was like a baby and have seen me grow up. So it was kind of the norm, and I kind of didn't want to do what my dad was doing, if you know what I mean. I wanted to be my own person. But then I guess when it really is in your heritage, you end up being dropped back into it, like catapult, and it draws you in.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I guess, yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. If it was harder for you seeing your dad being like a professional musician and having rehearsals at home, was it hard for you that obviously, oh, I might have to be a musician, or did you feel that?
No, never. Like I said, I was kind of performing and doing kind of school dance shows and things like that, and I did a bit of piano when I was younger, but I never felt the pressure to be a musician. It was actually a very interesting story that got me actually properly into it. My father was being actually very open-minded and prudent. Like, he was very much like, do your own thing, live your own life. Right. If you want music, I'm here, but just... And one summer, his ex-colleague came from Colombia. She passed away, but she was a very famous Colombian female musician, pioneering women's bands actually in Cali, in Colombia. She was like one of the first female orchestras. She was a bongo player. She played every instrument, literally. And she came on a European tour and she stayed at our house. And then she went to my dad's rehearsal and she said, why isn't your daughter in the band? Because in her family, it's they're the pushy ones. Okay. Everyone is in the band. Everyone is a musician. Right. All has 6 brothers and sisters and nephews and nieces. So my dad was like, no, like, maybe he had more of a British mentality. He was like, you know, just do your own thing. Yeah. And she said, no, she wasn't having it. She said, no, you take now the claves, and you have to start working with your dad. And he was like, do you want to? And I said, okay. And he said, don't worry, like, if you like it, if you enjoy it, it's not forced. And then if you really take it seriously, then, you know, we'll talk about what happens next. Right.
Okay. And was it hard for you to start singing? I mean, were you thrown into the deep end to kind of like be the lead singer?
No, no. One thing that I'm really, really grateful for, and I earned my place. So I was put on just backing vocals and a bit of percussion. I've always been quite good, or I'm still learning, but at pan percussion. And he was like, no, you're going to learn to harmonize first, and you're going to learn to basically, you might sing one song, but you're going to learn. Right. And it took probably a couple of years before I was then taking more of a lead and growing in my confidence. He actually said, if I let you sing at the front right now, and I will be seen as having kind of favoritism, because I wasn't the only one in the band. And one thing he says, first you have to think of the like how to get better, and it's I want you to do your best. So it wasn't about just there you have it on a plate. You have to work.
Yeah. And so then you started singing in his bands?
Yes, I started singing, grafting in his band. And I guess it was because my father, well, he's retired, but he was an agent, so there was lots of gigs. And the first band we had, it was a male singer, female lead singer, and I was a backing vocalist. And that lasted for like a year and a half. And then we reformed the band with 3 female singers, and it was called Son Real. And many people remember Son Real. We were around for like nearly 10 years. And we were 3 females at the front. And that's when I gradually started kind of singing more lead and learning more to be at the front. Okay. But it was with his band. It was still with his band, and we did a project together and recorded an album.
Wow! So you recorded an album. What about Unreal? Did you also record?
Yes, with Unreal I recorded the album. So we recorded it in Cali. So the singers flew over there, and I recorded 4 tracks. That was my first experience recording professionally. I was 21 and very scared. But I felt like it was such a great learning experience. Great memories of doing that album.
So sorry, guys, we have internet technical issues, but we are back. Yes.
Hi, guys. Yeah. I think people know that there are so many issues with the internet right now, so please bear with us. There's like issues around the city, so sorry, sorry guys.
Bear with us. So I think I asked you about psychology. If you can tell us a little bit about being a teacher.
Yes. Okay. So I studied psychology. At the age of 18, I started studying psychology. So all the while I'm doing my music and learning my music, I'm still training in psychology. So this is all happening at the same time. So I've always balanced my music and my psychology career. So I studied psychology at UCL, and after I graduated, I spent a couple of years, a year and a half, I would say, just doing the music side. Kind of took a year break. Didn't really know what area of psychology I wanted to go into. And then I stumbled, as many of us do, into teaching. And for those of you who might not know, psychology is taught at 6th form level or college level. So I started training as a teacher, and thought I'd take some time in teaching and see how that felt. And teaching my subject that I love. All the while doing the music. And I think teaching and music career kind of go well in hand, because obviously you're doing shows during the weekends and maybe Thursday nights, but usually during the week it's kind of more light. So during the week I'd be doing psychology teaching, and then in 2015 I combined the 2 loves, so the music and the psychology. And there's been a massive growth in the area that is music psychology. So studying music and the brain, how people are affected by music, all sorts of musical behaviors, not only abnormal things like depression in music or Alzheimer's in music, but also how musicians behave and how the brain of a musician works, or how we appreciate things like rhythms and how music affects our moods and positive. So it's a big area, and at Goldsmiths University they have a great music psychology department, and I spent 2 years there specializing in music neuroscience. And then recently I've just kind of gone back to teaching, but less in the college, more kind of waiting to hopefully do my own research in music psychology.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So then, but you still teaching in school, or you kind of like?
No, I teach part-time in a sixth form, and I do a lot of private tuition. I think I've got like a few years now of experience, like 11 years teaching. So
Wow.
It's kind of second nature. I think it's a bit like performing, you know. So I get a lot of requests for university tuition and master's tuition and college tuition. So I work in a small department of psychologists, and I'm one of the part-time teachers because I love it. I mean, if you ever taught, it's a bit like being on stage. And I love, you know, teaching my subject, and interaction with my students is just the best.
Yeah.
As well, like with the audience.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. I was also gonna ask you, because obviously during the whole lockdown and coronavirus, how is that? How has it affected you with your teaching and everything else?
Yeah, well, we've obviously, you know, schools were the last to go on last to lock down, really, or to stop attendance at schools. Well, you know, it's been difficult because everything happened quite rapidly. So we're teaching online, so we send work to our students. Not all students are always like active, because maybe, you know, we don't know in this situation. Some people might be really unwell, might have family members unwell. So we have to have a lot of understanding and patience. We also have staff that are unwell. So it's not a very kind of, it's a very difficult time, but you're trying to support the student. And we luckily have systems now like Microsoft Teams to kind of continue that. We're supposed to be like basically working from home. So the days we work, we're supposed to be available for the students to kind of send work, and also to, you know, giving feedback. So yeah, it's a difficult, confusing time for many of them, especially my students who prepared for 2 years for an examination and exams were cancelled. So they are facing uncertain times to enter university. They don't really know.
Yeah. Well, that's a shame, but hopefully, you know, this is gonna be over soon, and everybody can go back to normal. Everyone can go back to their jobs, their singing, their gigs, everything.
Yes.
So it should be, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Hopefully, yeah.
I wanted to ask you if you can tell us about Guerrera. I know we had Lily before, you know,
yes,
his show, but we wanted to hear from your side.
Okay. No, well, Guerrera is a dream project come true that involves, it's a 10-piece orchestra, Latin music, mainly Afro-tropical rhythms. It's a project that is various years in the making, I would say. I think personally, from my area, where the origin story of Guerrera began, I think, when I was with Son Real, because it was the first time I worked with women, and we had many challenges, you know, sometimes thinking what kind of repertoire we would sing, because we're doing a style of music which is mainly sung by men. So as a young, like in my 20s, I always had these big questions about women's role in Latin music, in specifically, well, in all genres in Latin music, but specifically tropical music. And I think my father and me would have great debates about what songs he would include, and he's always been a supporter of women in bands and in music, and he always said to me, you know, it's true, you know, we don't have many women Latin percussionists. And I would I was so intrigued by being in an area doing a music that had such low representation in composers, in songs, very, very few known, many unknown, but very few known female instrumentalists in Afro-Latin music, as well as like singers and composers. So it always was in my head, and I was always researching new songs and always saying, look at this, and I would find, they would laugh at me in the band because they'd be like, you find the weirdest songs that no one knows, songs of women that we've never heard of. But I was like, you know, we need to change it. So that's the origin. And then Guerrera right now, I think me and Lily, we've known each other for many years now, and I think just when the time is right, if you know what I mean. And I think we went through some social change, you know, with Me Too and Time's Up. The social climate kind of elevated it, and also the number of women available to be part of a project like Guerrera. We have to remember, maybe Guerrera didn't have happened before because it was very difficult. You know, we didn't have the kind of musicians we currently have right now in London, female musicians, both from London and have come from different countries. So I think it was a project in the making that was always kind of deep inside.
Oh, so that's amazing what you guys are doing. I mean, I haven't been able to see you guys, but I've seen videos, and it's like you're in awe of how many women are on stage and how many women are working together, and that's what we need, I think.
Yeah, we definitely need the kind of representation. I think to start balls rolling, and especially in the UK where we haven't seen this before. We've seen it in other parts of the world, but still there's so much to kind of be done. And my role in Guerrera is as you know, Lily's a musical director. She directs the band. You know, I'm one of the singers, so I'm under her musical direction.
Okay,
great. I don't. And I kind of do a lot of the managing, the admin, the fun stuff, the paperwork.
Yes,
yeah, all of that stuff. So I guess because I'm a teacher, I guess those kind of things, you know, organizing those kinds of things comes a bit more naturally for me. So yeah, that's kind of. Okay. But we work definitely. You know, we always talk things through, and we make sure that our heads are kind of in the right place.
Yeah, like you.
Yeah, but I mean, we sometimes finish each other's sentences, I think, where we kind of know we're in sync.
That's good. That's good that you're blended together.
Yeah.
So then, would you call yourself a songwriter or a lyricist?
Okay.
Oh, yes.
I've always, I would call myself a lyricist under the definition of songwriter. I think implies, if I'm not mistaken, no one wants to correct me, implies thinking of melodies and kind of, I've always loved to write, and not just music, just write. I mean, and I've, as a psychologist, you know, publishing work and you know, in that kind of sense, academic work, and putting my thoughts to paper. And I think I find myself more comfortable just putting my thoughts to paper, you know, my concepts, my ideas, and not being constrained by the musical part. So it's a bit like taking everything I'm thinking about, a topic or a theme, and then putting it down.
Yeah.
And then what I like to do, or what we're doing, is with, say, someone like Lily, who's a musical director, get her to think of the arrangements.
Right.
And then it's kind of a collaboration. So she may arrange something, and then she'll fit my lyrics in, and then I hear it, and then I think, okay, now let me work now a bit more on the lyrics and change this part. So it's kind of like I may have an idea, like the song, I want it to be like a very energetic song, or I want it to be a romantic song. I will have that kind of idea, but I won't let myself compromise the lyrics, the story, the content, for musicality, if you know what I mean.
I understand. Yeah. That sounds amazing. So I'm just looking at the time. I'm just gonna check to see if there's any questions.
Yeah.
Guys, remember there is a box at the bottom, the right-hand side with a question mark. So if you can write all your questions through there, and we can ask Angelica. So there was someone that asked, who and what inspired Guerrera?
Who?
Who yeah, who and what? No, who and what inspired Guerrera? Yeah.
Like a who, like a person.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say there's not like a particular, I guess you know what, like I said, I was inspired by working with female musicians.
Right.
All of you guys, all the female musicians, when I was, for example, Sonreal, and the women I started seeing, they inspired me to start Guerrera. They inspired me because, for example, if I had only worked with male musicians or been in a very kind of closed area, I would have probably not really thought about that. But seeing the professionalism and the talent, that inspired me, both here in London, seeing bands back in Cali, women orchestras, seeing that they existed, they inspired me. The great Latin American female vocalists, they inspired me. I've been, maybe that's why I'm a psychologist, I've been great at researching, and I'm very kind of a nerd when it comes to that. And those figures inspired me, just a whole range of people.
That's great. Yeah. There is another question here that says, what do you want your music legacy to be?
These are deep questions. My musical legacy. Oh God, that's like a deep question. Well, I'd like our musical legacy to be about inclusivity, about opportunity, about development. That Guerrera is, and I'm speaking on behalf of Guerrera as Guerrera now.
Yeah.
That we are a project which is providing a platform, and that I believe a lot in development. I believe that, you know, as an educator, as a performer, we are always learning, and that we are not going to kind of, with all the struggles that this big band has, because it's not easy to maintain, as you know, a big band like this size, that we don't give up, and that we believe, that we keep believing in people.
Yeah, I think the energy between all of you guys have to kind of like pull together, because I can understand that it could be quite hard, and you know where we are now.
Yeah,
to kind of like decaer, you know, kind of like
it is hard. You know, it is hard, and like Lily might have said in the interview with Jordana, it's like, you know, it's easier said than done to run an orchestra, and we just went into it, and now we've learned so much about being into it. But it's about, like I said, our legacy is about development. We're giving opportunity, platform, a space to grow, and
right.
to give singers, instrumentalists an opportunity to really mature as a unit. You know, individually the talent is amazing, but mature as a unit. And just, yeah, I think with positivism and belief that there aren't any kind of limitations.
Okay. There's one question here saying, are you planning to record an album of originals with Guerrera?
Yes, we have already, you know, things in the pipeline. And yeah, definitely. That's the sign of, you know, especially as an orchestra, that we have our own sound. So working on our own sound, definitely coming soon whenever this craziness is over, but definitely.
And do you guys know your sound? Is it just salsa, or is it
Not really. I don't know. We've kind of said we use the word salsa band because it's like everyone knows what salsa is, and we don't get into the technicalities of tropical music or Afro tropical. But we we do play cumbias, we do play a bit of like commercial music. So I think we're looking for, you know, we're kind of inspired by many bands. Like I personally am inspired by bands like Guaco from Venezuela, which is not a salsa, not really, you know, looking for that kind of representation of the tropics. So salsa is part of that, but I don't think our sound is going to be like a carbon copy of the Spanish Harlem Orchestra or Los Bambán from Cuba. I think it's going to be a bit, because it represents London and the eclectic, you know, me and Lily's kind of backgrounds and our tastes as well, which are different. Yeah.
Someone says, who is your favorite artist out there now?
Oh my God. So there's like as many as, if I asked you that, Nana, you'd probably be like, ah, like, yeah. Okay. I'll speak about someone who I've loved since I was very, like a young girl. That's Mr. Rubén Blades. He is like my uncle. He doesn't know it. He is like my inspiration of what I think, that's where my love of the lyrics come from, and not compensating lyrics for anything. But I'd say from the legends, him. I'd say current artists right now in the field that I think are like amazing and are doing great things. I would say someone like, I follow him on Instagram, Jeremy Bosch from New York. I think he's a great representation of salsa in the 2020. You know, someone who is bringing back that sound that we had in the 70s with his voice and his talent. It's amazing. Those two gentlemen, one from the legends and one from the future, that would say, you know, my favorite. But I would say as a female, because I should mention a female. A female artist. Wow, there's a girl called Maria Virginia Caldera. She lives in New York. She's Venezuelan. She's a really great up and coming artist that I admire.
I'll check her out.
MB Caldera.
MB Caldera. Okay. There's another question here, which I think I know the answer to this.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite gig with Guerrera so far?
Well, considering the multitude of gigs, the Jazz Cafe gig was the best gig. We did a very good show as well, like which was very, you know, successful. We played
in an issue that you want to speak about, anything.
Definitely.
Chitt Chat is open for everyone and anyone, so we are open.
Well, thank you so much. It's been amazing. And you know, if people want to follow us, or
yes,
at We Are Guerrera on Instagram, at We Are Guerrera, on Facebook at We Are Guerrera. We don't have currently, obviously, Spotify platform yet, because that will come soon with our original music. And if people want to look at what I've done in the past with Son Real, you can find us on Spotify with Son Real, like REAL. And there's a few tracks there that you can listen to that I recorded. Otherwise, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Angelica. And see you very soon.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Saludos a Jenny.
Saludos.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, everyone. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I know we had a bit of an technical issue, but we're back. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. If you know of anyone that would like to come on Chitt Chat, send them our way. They can drop us a message, either to me or to the Chitt Chat page, and we are open to anyone and everyone that has a story that they want to share with the world. So please don't forget, we are here. So thank you so much. I am Nana, and we'll see you tomorrow. We're gonna have two amazing women, which I cannot wait to hear what they have to say. One, we have Luisa Santiago, who's gonna join us, and then we have Nefisa. So they're both, Nefisa is gonna join us from Spain, and Luisa Santiago is gonna join us from London, UK. and I cannot wait. So see you at 7:30. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye.